Hey, welcome back to another Selfish Sunday. Today, I'm going to be talking all about focusing on yourself and why judging other people is not so good. I'm Chad, and I'm really excited for today's episode because I just feel like it's really important because there's always people talking, there's always people like gossiping, mumbling, cackling, doing all that stuff, and we need to know how to deal with it. We need to know how to, because it's gonna happen. You know, people do it, and sometimes we do it. So we need to watch ourselves, check ourselves, and also be prepared for when other people do it, so that we can like thrive and like in spite of it. Super excited for today's episode, and I feel like, yeah, now's the time to do it. Now's the time when I just feel like everyone is gossiping, and even though I'm out of high school now, I'm like in university, people still do it, and it's really annoying. And there's so much just like talk, like people just don't stop talking. I want to like dive into like why this is, which is like, maybe that's crazy, but we're gonna psychoanalyze as we are, because it'll make us feel better once we like understand what's happening. And also so that we don't do this, we stop, because it's really like weird and it's toxic, so let's not do it. It's weird behavior. I wanted to start by saying I think there's a difference between gossip, like harmful gossip and judging other people, and talking about other people's actions, and what they're doing, how they're doing in your social circles. On the one hand, and I do think it's like a very fine line, don't get me wrong, and so you need to be careful, and you need to like, don't make excuses based on like which one you're doing. Just be so honest and real with yourself. So on the one hand, you have gossiping, like gossip, like it's harmful, it's rude. And I feel like this type of like gossiping, like the one that you really need to stop, and like judging, is talking about other people and things that they like don't have control over. So like talking about things that are happening to people that you're like envious of, like when it's coming from like a hateful place, that's toxic. Don't do that. That's definitely judging other people. And anything that's sort of in that realm where you are clearly making a judgment about someone without having their best interests in mind. And I think this is different. And again, the line's like blurry. It's a fine line. I don't really know how like best to say it, but then you also have on the other side just simply like talking about things that are going on. Whether it's, oh, this person, like in our social circle, they did this thing and it's like really bad in terms of like they did someone wrong, or it's just like very strange behavior. Like it's like criminal, not like criminal, but like it's like criminal. Like, why would they do that? More so in the way of like, I want to avoid this person because I don't like who they are as a person. I don't like their character. I don't trust them as a friend. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's completely different. I think that's almost evolutionary. I feel like I saw a TikTok about this. So again, like every time I say I saw a TikTok about it, like, can we really trust what I'm saying? But it was saying like, oh, gossiping's evolutionary because you're just like protecting yourself from like dangerous people, you know? I don't know. I do think though, there's a big difference. There's a way to talk about other people and things that are happening without it coming from a judgmental place. Or there's even like a way to celebrate other people when talking with friends. You can talk about other people without it being bad, gossipy, and judgmental. You can be like, oh my God, like, did you hear this happened to them? That's so exciting. This relates to like other things I've said in previous episodes about like just being happy for other people and how healthy that is for your own mindset and your own success and everything. Ultimately, like, judging other people for the sake of judging them, that gets you nowhere. Yes, that's the title of this podcast episode. But it doesn't get you anywhere because you're so obsessed. And I'll dive more deeper into this, but I just want to tell this story first. So once upon a time, is that how I'm gonna do it? Like, am I a story timer now? Okay. So this is like a couple months ago, I think. I was at this creator event, like a content creator event, and some of the people I was there with, like, just like people I'd met there, like I didn't really go with anyone, like I didn't have any friends there. Anyways, it doesn't really matter, okay, irrelevant, whatever. But we overheard someone say, I don't even know how some of these people got in here, how these people got invited, they don't even have 10K. What? Literally my jaw dropped right there. And I'm not like a jaw drop person. Maybe I am actually. Like, I was gagged. Like, that is such a crazy thing to hear, because who cares? Literally, who cares? There's so many things to say about this and so many reasons why this is so annoying and so, like, such toxic behavior from whoever said this. I don't even know who it was, so I don't even know who to, like, avoid. Hopefully, like, I don't even know them. They're irrelevant to me because that's so insane and so rude. That comes from such a place of insecurity and not feeling like content with where you are in life and, you know, the progress you're making in your career, in your life, whatever, because you can't be happy for other people, or you just have to knock other people down a peg just to make yourself feel higher on the freaking ladder. Is that a metaphor? Like, guys, like, I always say these, like, crazy, like, metaphors, and I just don't know if those are, like, real things or if they make any sense, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's insane to me. Or it's like this need to compare yourself to other people just to feel better about yourself. It's like, oh my gosh, they have less followers than me, so, like, I'm, like, really awesome. Like, it makes me feel so good about myself. Or even, oh my gosh, this person got a worse grade than me on this exam. Ugh, I'm just like, I'm hot shit. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're annoying and you're weird. Don't do that. Like, why does it matter how many followers someone has? It doesn't. It literally doesn't, and it especially doesn't matter in relation to you. Them having less followers than you does not mean that you rapidly gain more. It's like, oh my god, the second, like, I point out that someone has less, like, it's like instant, I just gained 100 followers. No, you don't. That's not how it works. That's so stupid. It's like, actually makes no sense to me. I'm just, like, really passionate about this because it's like, don't be rude, okay? Don't be rude. I feel like my number one thing is, like, don't be rude, focus on yourself. Be selfish, okay? You can be selfish without giving a damn about anyone else. Like, don't. Or another way to look at this is, like, I like using, like, a school example also, because I do feel like, again, a lot of us are in school. And if you're not, then that's okay, just apply it how you do. But, like, pointing out, like, oh my gosh, like, that person got less than me on this test. Oh, I'm sorry, did that just give you, like, 5% more on your grade? Did your GPA just skyrocket because you are a terrible person? No. Just stop. This is my PSA to everyone out there that is judging other people to make you feel better about yourself. Stop. Literally stop. It's doing nothing but occupy your time. It's taking up your energy, and it's getting you nowhere in life. Because if you took the energy that it spent, right, focusing on other people, focusing on belittling them. Belittling is crazy, but that's really what it feels like. Like, even, like, them taking up space in your mind rent-free, you can use that space, you can use that energy, redirect it into something more productive. Because maybe if you weren't so focused on other people and how many followers they have, maybe you'd be able to, you know, make more content or figure out how to grow yourself and your career and your mindset, you know? Quite literally, being a judgmental person doesn't really translate well in terms of advancing yourself in any way. And it's also just not a good look. Which this actually, I'll talk about this next, but okay, the prompt is, it's not a good look. Okay, I remember. Okay, I'll talk about that in a sec. But you need to focus on you. That is so what I'm trying to emphasize. You really are going to see so many changes in your life, positive changes, when you focus on you and you stop letting other people dictate your life for you. And it may seem that because you're judging someone else and, like, making yourself feel better in a way, right? It may seem like, oh, such a win. Like, yeah, I'm doing better than them. This is awesome. But really, that person that you're talking shit about, they're in control of your life. They are constantly on your thoughts, preoccupying your every, like, move. You know what I mean? Who's winning? Because you're not making any progress while you're, like, chatterboxing it up. You could have been, though. What are you doing? I'm gonna get to what I was saying. What was the prompt again? It was like, oh, here we go. Like, I need to have a notebook with me because I'm gonna forget every time. It was like something about, oh, it's not a good look. Oh, it's not a good look. It's really not. It's really not. I'll tell you why. First and foremost, like, being an envious person, it doesn't look good. And I know it's sort of in the example that I said in my story, it's not necessarily envy because it was looking down on someone, but I think it applies. It's a similar thing because just being judgmental is just not a good look regardless. So the first of all is, yeah, you don't look like a warm person. It doesn't seem, it's not good. Like, I feel like you can see the ugly, you know what I mean? And I don't mean like appearance wise, but just people look ugly when their actions are bad and when they don't reflect that of a good person. And so immediately, especially if you're someone that can like, almost like you're a good judge of character and people's like auras and vibes, people will see through you, okay? They will see it and they will see like what's really up, what's really going on. So that's the first and foremost. Next of all, and this is something I think about often, is if someone's talking about other people, right? If they're talking shit about other people, what does that say about you when I'm not the one beside you, when I'm not the one that you're talking to and you're talking to other people? Is my name in your mouth then? You know what I mean? If you can so easily look down on all these other people that you talk about and these people that are constantly, you're obsessed with just bashing them and judging them and you're awful and you're terrible and you're horrible, you probably do the same thing about me. You probably talk about me like that. So why would I want to be around you? That's not a good look and you don't seem like a good friend. And that's something I realized pretty recently is people like show their true colors, except you have to like, you kind of have to be looking for it sometimes because it can be so easily like, oh my gosh, like I'm like bonding with this person because they trust me to tell me all these things, whatever. But do they? Or is that just who they are as a person? Is they're really judgmental? And the second you're walking out the door, oh, they're reeling someone else in to do the exact same thing about you, to talk mad shit about you. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's a guarantee, but it's possible. Who's to say that they're not doing that? So don't do it because it's weird and everyone will see through it. And now that this podcast episode is out, you better watch out because now people know your little tricks and know that you're talking shit about them. So stop, don't do it. It's rude and it occupies so much energy and time. It's just really crazy. I just feel like it doesn't even go, I'm like still like hung up on this, but it's like, how do you even do that? How do you judge people so openly to other people? This just happened to me like a few times with, not people I'm friends with anymore, but people I've interacted with and maybe was friends with at the time. But, once you identify this behavior, it's very quick to be like, oh, see ya later. I'm gonna focus on myself. You go judge people. I don't care. Oh, bye. This is the next thing I want to talk about. This is the next thing is being on the receiving side of this. And, so like we've talked about like, don't do this, but what happens if other people are doing it to you? We'll get there. But first and foremost, I don't get how people can be so willingly and openly judging about others to people. Because again, if you're doing it, you're probably doing it to me. Especially like one time, this one girl was like talking to me and a couple of other of my friends, and she was just like going in about this one girl's like appearance. And I was like, and this is like, mind you, such a pretty girl, like so pretty, both of them so pretty, like just beautiful, like so, like can't even say anything bad about them. You shouldn't anyways. Everyone's pretty, everyone's beautiful. There's no reason to bring looks into anything. There's literally never a reason to bring looks into anything. Don't. But I was like, uh-oh, if you're talking mad shit about this really pretty girl, yikes, I'm done then. When you start talking about me, if Miss Pretty Princess was not immune to you, oh, no, it's game over for me then. So, like, people who judge others, they do it to everyone. So, yeah, if the top of the top is not immune, thank you. I will, I'm just gonna head out. There's other friends for you. Also, like, say it to my face. I can handle it, okay? Because at least then it's a fair fight. I should take the high road, okay? I'll be honest. Like, yeah, of course, my advice would be take the high road if someone, like, is going crazy on you. But at least give me the opportunity to defend myself a little bit. You know what I mean? Behind my back? And it's happened multiple times where there are people just like mambaling and cackling behind my back. And what do you do in that situation? Many different routes you can take. I'm gonna just share sort of like my experience, and this is my take. This is my take on being on the receiving end of judgmental people, because I feel like there's so many different ways that you can react, and there's so many valid reasons. A reaction is a reaction, and it's really hard to control how you feel about something, because if you're hurt, you didn't choose that, but you can deal with it, you can process the hurt, and turn it into something positive. But if someone is judging you, don't feel bad if you're sad, or if it upsets you, or if it aggravates you, or if it frustrates you. That's so valid, because that isn't even something that should be happening. There's so many horrible people out there. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be, just because they're mad with life and they're miserable, doesn't mean anything about you. Has nothing to do with you. And so I guess that's my general thing is, let's say someone is talking about you, or someone doesn't like you, any of those sort of things, or even if someone just has an outburst and targets it at you, it's not about you. You know what I mean? Unless they explicitly say, this, and this upset me, and I want to talk this through. Okay, yeah, that's about you, and you can have a mature conversation about that. But if they're just coming for you, no, stop. That's them. That's them projecting their insecurities onto you. And it's not up to you to deal with that, or to feel like there's anything wrong with you, because there's not. It's literally a them issue. It's an ish them. They can work through that on their own, and it'll come a time, maybe they will always be like this forever. Who cares? Because you can remove yourself from the situation. And that's the next thing is, first of all, don't let something bother you, right? It's okay to feel, upset by things, but don't let it consume you, because again, it is so on them, and it is so them being a miserable fuck that there's no reason for you to. It is unfair that you're caught in the crossfire between their problem with the world. But there are people like that, and I've been in situations where people are just talking so much mouth and have so much shit to say for no good reason. You just are happy with life, or you're content. Sometimes people don't like that, and so they'll come for you, and they'll try and stir the pot like the wicked witch of the west that they are, and you can't let it bother you. What I do when that happens is I just remove myself from the situation, which is so interesting, because when I did that, that stirred more trouble. People will always find a reason to be mad. It's not your problem. It's not your responsibility. Just remove yourself from the situation, call them a miserable fuck under your breath, move on. It's honestly laughable. It really is, because hello, come on, ego boost that I live rent free in your head. But jokes aside, seriously, honestly, jokes in it, because it is it shouldn't be such a serious situation, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, in the big picture, it doesn't. So you can laugh it off. And honestly, that's one of my favorite things is when people are assholes, it's just laugh in their face, because they're the terrible people. So if you just treat the situation as unserious, you win. You win. When you don't let things bother you and you don't let things consume you, you're the winner. And it's just such a more pleasant way to live life. Because in all facets of life, and in all different points in life, whether you're in high school, college, your workplace, family, even anything, there's a chance that you'll run into annoying, terrible people who are really judgmental. And if you just let it be removed from you, you'll be so much more happy, and you'll feel free, because there's no burden on you to act a certain way for these people just so they'll like you, because sometimes there's nothing you can do. They are just going to be mad for whatever reason. And like I said, yeah, I can admit it's frustrating sometimes, because you can do absolutely nothing wrong and people will still find a way to be upset. But it doesn't matter. You move on and you find happiness in yourself, and you focus on yourself. You focus on you. You don't judge other people like they do. Don't be like them. Find your spark, find your happiness, do things that make you happy for you and not for other people. Don't let other people's perceptions of you and their judgments dictate how you live your life, because then it's not your life at that point, and it is your life to live, to be selfish, and to be your best self. That was today's episode of Selfish. Thank you for joining me on this Selfish Sunday. Today's episode was very ranty. It was a lot, but I feel like it was so important to talk about. And it was honestly like, I loved just like talking this through because it's such an important topic. And I hope it resonated, take what resonated with you, leave behind what didn't, and go be selfish, go focus on you. Don't worry about the haters, just don't. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.